Okay, I'm Jack Lee. I'm the president of KMx, and today we're going to be covering leveraging artificial intelligence and expert system technology in an effort to automate e-learning development. Now, we didn't really just start with let's do e-learning with artificial intelligence. We actually had a process that got us here, and I'm going to walk you through that just a little bit before we start doing a demonstration. What we really wanted to do with our initial project goals was to try and push the limits of both expert system technology and artificial intelligence to fully automate as many of the labor-intensive elements of the instructional systems design process as possible. Well, in order to do that, we had to settle on which ISD process model we were going to follow, and we decided to use the ADDIE model, Analyze, Design, Develop, Implement, Evaluate model you see there on the screen, and see if we could get as far as developing e-learning courseware using AI and expert system technologies. If we could get something that actually produced a reasonable output, the next objective was to incorporate the technology into our KMx Enterprise learning platform. We'll talk a little bit about what that is. And we also wanted to try and do this so that we didn't have to raise the cost of the product. We wanted to be able to do this, at least initially, for our existing clients as a no-cost upgrade to the system. Okay, so we all have heard a lot about artificial intelligence. 60 Minutes ran a great segment Sunday night, if any of you watched it, with the guys from Google and their efforts in developing AI technologies to support their business model. But what it really does is leverages computers and computer processes to synthesize very large amounts of data in ways and speeds that us humans just can't pull off. I mean, we're smart, but as far as being able to keep that much information at our fingertips, AI has a pretty significant advantage. According to most, the goal for AI is to safely and dependably support humans by recognizing patterns, enhancing decision processes, and really being able to provide detailed analysis of complex subjects like decoding the human genome, which AI in the 60-minute segment, had been, just a tremendous help. Now, the other technology we're going to be talking about today is the sister of AI, and that's expert system technology. And it also leverages computer programs, but what it tries to do is simulate known human processes, structured processes that require expertise and experience to get through to the end of some goal. Now, expert systems are almost always designed to support and complement human experts. They don't normally operate on their own independently of human experts. So these are two of the technologies we'll be talking about today. Now, I mentioned this earlier, KMx Enterprise, that's our learning technology product. In fact, you all logged in through KMxDirect.com, which is a KMx site. And it provides fully integrated e-learning development, management, talent management, learning content management, and this virtual classroom technology that we call KMx Live in one easy-to-use solution. It leverages both AI and expert system technologies, and actually has always used expert system technologies for the analysis, assignment of training, talent management, and reporting processes. And those things that are necessary to help a client through the analysis of large chunks of data with visualizations and tools like that. So expert system technology isn't anything new to us. Adding the AI components is the new thing that we're working through right now. Where we started with this is we wanted to be able to mechanize again the ISD model using ADDIE to generate number one, task inventories. Now that's something that we had previously been able to accomplish with our KMx product using expert system technologies. We did not get much improvement by leveraging AI, moving that one down the course. Defining scope and purpose to help in the task analysis process, all the way through generating course learning objectives, outlines, were things that expert system technology performed equally as well from our efforts and reviews as AI. Where expert systems got quickly behind was in the generation of e-learning lessons and the generation of exams. Where AI really shined was in those two areas. So we're going to focus a lot on those as we look through some of the things that we've been able to accomplish with the technology so far. What we're going to talk about here first, though, are some of the processes that come out of this. And we're actually going to do all these, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these slides. But KMx provides the expert system technology and multiple templates to automate generation of knowledge and skill task statements. If you're going to do a task analysis, job task analysis, you got to have a starting point, and that's what knowledge and skill task statements do. Give you an inventory of those things that could be tasks that are necessary, for either the attainment of knowledge or the attainment of skill associated with the subject. Now, clients can copy and edit our templates or create new templates from scratch. We're going to be working with 2 templates today in our demonstration. You'll be able to see this in just a few minutes. The next thing was learning objective generation. Again, expert system technology worked extremely well here by being able to take the task inventory collections and filter that information based on the results of the course requirements analysis. The end result, is to get to actual learning objectives. The process also gives you all the elements that you would need for all 4 levels of the Kirkpatrick Learning Evaluation Model. Now, let me just back up one slide here real quick and talk about the course requirements analysis. What we needed to do here was be able to leverage expert system technology. The course requirements analysis process, then can enable developers to define the scope and purpose of the training to be delivered, what you're trying to do with a course, what are your overall goals for the course, and what are the subject areas that you intend to cover. The analysis is based on templates associated with generally accepted delivery models, things like general education, equipment operation, equipment maintenance, policy implementation, process orientation, etc. And the model that we've been using and have developed allows you to create and edit these templates, but also generate brand new templates if you have your own analysis model that you want to go through. And again, we're going to actually do this here in a minute, so I'm just trying to give you an idea of what you are going to be able to see here shortly. So at the end of the line, what we were able to do with the expert system technology is drive through to look through those learning objectives that were generated by the system, edit them, tailor them, sequence them as necessary to be able to create a course outline. And the expert system technology, again, was able to assess the learning objectives that are assigned to the course to establish a logical sequence of progression: knowledge before skill, easy before hard, type of logic going on there in order to get a logical progression in the course outline. Now, once those learning objectives and the progression sequence are approved by a developer, well, then now you have a drag and drop course outline with placeholders, to add your required content. Again, we're going to do all of this in just a few seconds. Now, in order to generate e-learning at the other end of this, we had to have some mechanism where there was an authoring tool that the customer could work with to edit the results of whatever comes out of the AI generation sequence. So we have our own tool, KMx Author, that's completely HTML5 based. It's free, and it's also free on the site, kmxdirect.com, that you logged in on. And what it does is supports all contemporary browsers, tablets, and smartphones. It's fully SCORM conformant, and it allows customers to support learners with disabilities in accordance with 508. It also supports user-generated lesson templates and CSS style sheets so that you can reformat a course or an entire library in terms of themes, font, colors, images, and styles with a simple style sheet swap out. So again, it's a very powerful tool. It's very easy to use, and it was also something that we owned that we could drive into the AI, we could drive the AI generated output into this system. Thank you, Mike. Boy, I keep double clicking there. Okay, let's back up there. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is we're going to go into the demonstration phase of this. And what we're going to do is we're going to leverage these technologies to do the things that we talked about, previously, to get to the course outline to generate e-learning lessons based on the learning objectives and the course outlines. The lessons that the system is going to create are going to be based on the course outline that we generate. The AI generated lessons, again, will be fully editable, with, the KMx author product. Well, let me go ahead and I'm going to need to share my screen here. Okay. And we'll go entire screen and share. Mike, if you'd let me know when you can see my screen.
Yep.
As far as Marcel's answer, the target group's really whatever you decide you want it to be. Whatever course or target subject that you want to work with. Can you see my screen now, Mike?
Yes, I can.
Let me turn the volume up here a little bit. You're awfully quiet there. Okay, so in order to get started, what we need is knowledge and skill inventory to do a task analysis of a subject. So I did a survey out on the Association for Talent Development earlier in the week just to see what people thought would be a cool subject to work with here. And after going through all of them, I selected one, and we're going to do a piece of postal system equipment. Somebody thought that would be a cool thing to demonstrate. Hopefully that person who recommended it is here. And we're going to use the system subsystem equipment template in order to accomplish this effort. And we're just going to go ahead and let the system generate a draft candidate table for the U.S. Postal Service small package sorting system. Now, I haven't gone through this yet, so I personally have no idea what the outcome's going to be. Yeah, so you're going to be as surprised as I am with what comes out of this. Now, that's a lot of task statements to go through, and obviously not all of them would be appropriate for any kind of course. And if we're not teaching people how to operate the system, or we're not teaching people how to maintain the system, or how to perform preventive maintenance on the system, whatever it is we're trying to accomplish, not all of these tasks that the system is generated are going to apply. Now, you may not like the way something's stated, so you could come in and you could change the wording of it, and the system is categorized different elements as either general knowledge, different kinds of knowledge areas, and it's put it into either a knowledge or a skill area, so it understands how it needs to process that information. Now, I could edit all these, and I got a convenient little delete thing over here on the side, if I just want to get rid of some of them that just don't make any sense whatsoever, and not even worry about trying to edit them. I'm just going to let whatever the system came up with go. I'm not going to edit any of these. We're just going to go with whatever the system came up with and move forward. So now I've got a task inventory list that the system has to work with, and I can start thinking about, okay, let's develop a course. And so I'm going to insert a course record into the system. And course records are actually pretty simple. They just register the course to the system, and we're going to call it we'll call it familiarization. US, and we'll let everybody know that this is an AI generated course. Just so in case it's not as good as we hoped, we can blame AI for the results. We're going to give that a default KS table of the U.S. Postal Service small package sorting system. That'll be our primary subject for this one course. We have multiple subjects in a course and multiple task listings in a course. We're not going to put it in the catalog right now, and we're going to kind of blow off the rest of these entries because we don't really need them right this minute, and just go ahead and hit done. So we've got a course record, to work with, a placeholder. And now the next thing that we can do here is start looking at what kind of requirements based on our task listing would be appropriate for our course. So instead of me searching through all these, I'm just going to type in USPS and see, okay, there it is. There's my familiarization with the U.S. Postal Service small package sorting system record that we just created. And instead of sorting through all this, I'm just going to go down here and let's see, it was TV right there. Okay. And we got lots of different training levels that are in this template that we're using. We're using a system, subsystem equipment template right now. We're just going to stick with familiarization. And we're going to give it the type of training. Is it advanced training, initial training? We're just going to make it initial training. Again, these are all template driven. You don't have to live with the templates. You can edit the templates, create your own templates, in order to get the right, filtering going from the expert system. And we'll just say next. The system now is selected out of those hundreds of potential task statements, a list of about 11 or so, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things that are reasonable for learning objectives within the system. Okay, so if I go down, and let's just look at one of these. Okay, so this is our learning objective that it's generated for one of our topics. Describe displays, controls, and indicators directly associated with the U.S. postal familiarization. It hasn't figured out where it should go in the course yet because we haven't generated a course outline, but it does know that we're going to be talking about the U.S. Postal Service small package sorting system. It's required training, and we're only going to go to the familiarization level, and it's based on this task statement. Okay, so those are the things that knew that generated that learning objective. Now, some of the learning objectives, may have additional information in them based on the complexity of it. Here's a learning objective: all physical components of, including name, appearance, location, and features. Okay, so these are the kinds of things that come out. I can edit all these objectives, delete them if I don't think they're appropriate, augment them, add new objectives if I think the system missed something. We're just going to go with the 10 that it generated to try and get through this, so you can kind of see where this all goes. And I'm just going to say done to that list. Okay, so what we've done here is we've inserted a course record and we've generated learning requirements. Obviously, we could add new requirements, or we could review the requirements that are already in the system. But what we're going to do is we're going to proceed forward to developing a course outline. And we're going to let the system auto-generate a course outline based on the learning objectives. What it's going to do is go through the objectives one by one, figure out, knowledge and skill relationships, figure out the ability, to have easy stuff before hard stuff, so that you have a progression in learning that doesn't stump the user right off the bat and allows you to do some progress checks along the way. So we're going to let the system generate a course outline. And again, instead of sorting through that list, I'm just going to go U.S. Postal Service and find my course and hit next. Okay, so here's the outline that the system has come up with. It thinks that we should teach general knowledge before physical knowledge, and then cover documentation. Now, this is a drag and drop list. I can rearrange this however we want. It's created placeholders for each of the topics that it thinks need to be covered based on the objectives in the course. So it thinks we need a short topic on state the functions of the package and sorting system. It thinks it should be the first topic in the course. It's general knowledge. It has no content associated with it yet. Now, we can do one of two things here. We can insert content manually from our content management system. If we've got content that meets that requirement, we could generate content using KMx Author or PowerPoint or Excel or any of the tools that the system has to offer. But what we're trying to do today is show you what you can do without having to use those tools, and simply go out and generate the course solely via AI technology. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into that develop a course outline, and I'm going to hit this button that says auto gen course content. Now this tags the system into the AI component. And it's going to take that entire course outline and every single learning objective in it, and it's going to run through a gauntlet of things with the AI engine to try and determine what content can be generated via e-learning. And while it's doing that, I'm going to switch back over to our slide presentation once we get this started, and tell you what it's doing behind the scenes. So we're going to hit auto gen a course content, and again, we're working on the U.S. Postal Service course. Familiarization. And I'm just going to hit next. Okay, now the AI engine is starting to work on a lesson titled Functions of the USPS Small Package Sorting System. I thought I had my phone turned off. Let's turn that off now. It was, I thought, turned off. Definitely turned off now. Okay. Okay. Now it's going through a it's still doing functions of. Okay. So it's going to be a while. Just started components of. Okay. So while that's chugging along here, I'm going to stop my screen share for a second. And I'm going to tell you what it's doing. For every single learning objectives, it's going through first in trying to generate lesson content. It generates the content lesson segments using AI. Today we're using Open AI and the Microsoft API adapter to generate the content. And the lesson length is completely variable based on the learning objective scope. Okay, so yeah, if it's a lofty learning objective, it could be a pretty long lesson. If it's a very tight, constrained learning objective, yeah, then you'll get a tight, constrained lesson. So the better the learning objective, the better the output. And it's going to look at the complexity and the information previously covered, and the goals of what we're trying to accomplish, with the course based on the information we fed it. It's going to generate audio narration for every lesson segment. The audio controls are also generated, and you can enable or disable the narration features either as a user, or if you don't like it at all and you want to get rid of it as a developer, you can just remove it as a developer. The AI lessons output are fully SCORM conformant e-learning, and they're also fully HTML5 conformant, and they're fully editable in KMx Author. So, you don't have to live what the system, gives you. It's going to give you stuff, and then you're going to be able to, edit it later. It's also going to try and generate simple interactions if it can, if the AI can figure out, how to, respond, to this. It'll generate simple interactions. An example would be like what you see on the screen, where the student is asked, what's the minimum temperature for the Beaver commercial ice cream machine, clicks on it and gets the answer. That's a very simple interaction. Or alternatively, maybe you want to provide an additional reference so that they can learn more. It'll try and do that for every single lesson, at least one simple interaction, if it has the material, in the AI library and learning model to do it. Now, I don't know how much, OpenAI knows about the U.S. Postal Service Simple Small Sorting Machine. This is, completely at risk here. We're doing this all, without a maiden run. So we're going to see what comes out. Simple interactions also include the audio narration, and they're fully editable using KMx Author. The next thing it's going to do, it's going to try and generate learn more interactions. We've all seen these in the Skillsoft, UBiz, and library courses out there, where you get to click each of the answers below, to get additional information, and you click on them and it gives you additional information. It's a way to get the student engaged with the materials, and it's going to try and generate these for every single, objective or lesson segment. They can be optional or required elements. That's up to you as the author. They can be used to provide extra credit or improve or reduce a learner's score based on whether or not they actually did it. So, these are the decisions you as the author, would make. Of course, you might have to edit some of these, or maybe you don't like, the way they're formatted or organized, or maybe you just like prettier colors. But the learn more interactions, again, can include audio narration. And again, they are also fully editable using KMx Author, and they can be replicated. You can copy and paste these things into other lessons, which is kind of a cool feature of KMx Author. The next thing it's going to try and do is generate a quiz. And each AI lesson segment is going to get at least one quiz question if the AI engine can formulate a quiz question for it with a correct answer. And these, again, can be provided for extra credit, or they can be used to improve or reduce a learner's score based on completion. They can be set to where they only get one shot at the apple or multiple shots at the apple, and they can include and do include remediation, audio narration, and are fully editable. So the AI is going to try and generate a remedial response for these things as well. Not that it's always going to be successful, but it's going to try with all those elements. And the last thing that it's going to generate, and what we're doing right now, is a final screen for each lesson segment. Each learning objective, the student learner is going to get a response from the system. It'll tell them their score, the amount of time it took them to complete the learning objective or the lesson, and whether or not they passed, failed, or just simply completed it. And this uses the SCORM terminology, for these lesson performance summaries to make it easier to match with your reporting. They also include audio, and again, are also fully editable with KMx Author. So that's what that little engine's off doing right now. Let's see how far it got. Okay, so right now it's generating a topic called differences between models. Okay, well that's interesting. I didn't know there were different models, but now we're going to find out what they are when this thing's done, of the USPS small package sorting system. Again, we're letting OpenAI generate the content right now. Okay, it's also now doing one for security requirements. Okay, well maybe this is a little longer course than I thought it was going to be when I started. That's okay. The more the merrier. Let me go ahead and turn on my screen share so you can see what I'm seeing. It's about 80% done with this course. Now it's doing displays and controls and indicators. While that's going, let me see if I can answer any questions that have come up in the chat room that Mike hasn't been. The source for the lesson content is from OpenAI right now. Possible copyrighted information is pretty much like Google. When you think about how Google search engines work, they scrape content based on its public availability and the lack of a copyright statement on the specific content. That's how OpenAI works. That's how Google works as well. Both Google AI and OpenAI pretty much have the same scraping ability. Nothing in OpenAI is any newer than July 2021. That was the last session learning model that we're using today. And what that time frame does is give people who have copyright concerns time to notify either OpenAI or Google or whoever the AI vendor is, that they put information out on a website that was publicly available without a copyright statement that they would like removed from the learning model, which all of the AI technologies have the capability of removing, because they tag the source for everything that's out there. So copyright isn't really going to be a big legal concern out there, with most of these. I know there's lawsuits out there, but when you kind of look at the basis of the lawsuits, a lot of those are, just going to fail on the merits. Now, if OpenAI or Google were to cheat, then that'd be another thing altogether. But they've both been pretty diligent from what we've seen in making sure that they were careful about not taking things that weren't publicly available or open source materials. Okay, the process is complete. Took a lot longer than I thought it would for this course, and we're going to go ahead and close that. Mike, can you guys still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see what it did. Okay, again, this is going to be as big a surprise to me as it is to everybody else, because I actually took a full 100% risk on this to see what it would come up with. Okay, so here's our course of instruction that it has come up with. Again, it's drag and drop, okay? Everything's fully editable, within the environment. But let's just, take the risk and take a look at it, okay? So we've got our AI-generated course. Let's see what topic 1 looks like.
The USPS Small Package Sorting System is a comprehensive package sorting system designed to improve the efficiency and accuracy of package delivery.
Okay, my voice sounds better than that voice, so we're just going to go with my voice for now. Okay, so you can see that it was able to come up with, on this first topic, it's got 6 screens. Again, you don't have to display any of this information to your end users. This is fully editable. We're going to go through that in a minute. And those 6 screens include information on this first learning objective, functions of the small package sorting system. And it's giving you the information you need. Again, it's all narrated. I turned the narration off over here for now to make it a little easier for you to hear me and not the machine. It doesn't look like it's all that long first topic. Okay, it came up with an interaction. Okay, well, that makes sense to me. Okay, and it came up with a quiz question. Well, it doesn't deliver the mail. It does sort mail. It does track mail. Let's see, sorting system. I'm going to go with sort mail. Whoa, yay. Okay, I got that one right. Well, that was a pretty easy one. So that one's, not all that complex. And now I've got an interaction at the end. I'm logged in as Mike here. And this one is not scored. There's no score in this lesson. It took me 1 minute and 18 seconds to get through this lesson. Okay, so that's lesson 1 of the course. And I could go through all these different lessons. There's a lot of them. I'm not going to do that. But let's just look at one further down the pike, major physical components. This is what it looks like within our database, okay? So we've got a data record that says this requirement in this course located at this part of the course covers this information, it's titled this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can preview that, content that's in the course just to see what it's going to look like.
The USPS small package sorting system.
Or I can edit that content. And here's what it looks like in the KMx author editor, okay? Well, now this is the course, one lesson out of that course. And all this is editable. So if I don't like the way this thing turned out, here's the data that generated that element. I can change all the color codes, the backgrounds, correct response, or I could put a style sheet on it. I could copy it. I could change the remediation here, from incorrect, change the correct answer. If AI got the answer wrong, have it only display 3 answers or 2 answers, make it a true false if I wanted to. There's lots of things I can do, to edit any element. I can animate elements. I can not cause them to fade in, I can auto advance elements. I can put a score on an element. There are lots of different things. I'm not going to try and teach everybody, KMx author today. And you can see it's put placeholders in where it thinks images or media might be necessary. So let's go look at how that might happen within an actual environment that I'm familiar with. This was one of the first courses we generated with the AI engine, and it was on the policy, the Azure security policy, okay? And so let's look at one of these topics here. This was, again, one of the first AI courses we generated. And I'm going to hit edit content, just like I did before. And here's an image that probably needs to be replaced, okay? So we're talking about the Microsoft Azure policy comprehensive set of security protocols. If I want to change that image, then I can simply go, let's see, I set a couple up and find a better image. Let's pull that one in. That looks better, okay? And now that image is in the course. I can, save the lesson where we are, simply by hitting the quick save button. And I can actually go in on this image. Maybe I want to spruce it up a little bit and, put it in a circle. Or maybe a ellipse, or maybe a rhombus, or a pentagon. Maybe I want to crop it or add hotspots to it. Lots of things I can do to it. Okay, I'm not going to make that change, but I can animate it, or I can animate the whole slide and tell it how long I want the animation to be. Make the animation 1 second, and I could go down and maybe change the next one as well. We'll drop another image here just to get the idea. I got some images that, just trying to spruce it up. Maybe I've got a video that covers some of this. Maybe I've got an animation. Maybe I've got, my little, camera out, and I take a couple of pictures and, put them in here of the, of different things, whatever it is that you need. And I'm just going to save it like that. And I'm done with those little edits. Now, when I preview the content,
the Microsoft Azure Security
it's using
Policy
my
is
images.
a comprehensive set of security. The purpose of the Microsoft Azure Security Policy is to...
Okay, so we're going to kill that audio. You get the idea. Again, I can't cover all the things associated with what you can do with KMx Author, but you can generate some pretty complex things, and it'll even take your 3D, virtual reality animations and even Google Map walkthroughs if you want, into the engine, the KMx Author engine. Those things, have been available for quite some time. I just wanted to show you how easy it is to get in and actually edit something in one of these, course outlines to make it, your own. And again, everything here is fully drag and drop. So you can, move stuff around, delete it, merge them together, however you need to do to make the course exactly what you need it to be. Our course that we just finished on the U.S., Postal Service small package sorting system is actually quite long. I don't know exactly what the total runtime is, but my gut says this is probably an hour and 40-minute runtime, to get through the whole thing with all the questions and quizzes and things like that that the system generated. And we're going to post this online, this course with this replay, so anybody can go through and actually play with that course that was generated by the AI engine. But let's look at that differences between models topic, because I was curious as to what it thought there were different models of, because I didn't know there were different models of this thing.
The USPS Small Package Sorting System is a system designed to sort packages and mail for delivery.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Okay, so it's got the AAPS. Okay, that's one model. In 24, okay, it's got the AAPPP. It is things I had no idea about the U.S. Postal Service small package sorting system. And the neat thing about OpenAI is you don't have to live with the results. If you don't like what it generated and you want to give it another crack at the apple, AI gets smarter every time it processes something. So I can edit this manually, or if I wanted to, I could go through and have it reprocess it. I could reprocess that content through OpenAI to see what another shot might produce. OpenAI gets better every single time it does something. So you have a chance for improvement, simply by saying just regenerate that lesson. I don't like what you came up with. In this case, it came out pretty good. But if you don't like what it came up with, you want to give it a chance to reprocess it. It learns, as it goes, and it may well come up with a better result the second time. So those are things, to think about when you're working with AI. So now you've kind of seen a quick example of what you can do to get through this. I'm going to go ahead and end my screen share for a second. Again, you can do the regeneration of individual lessons to accommodate changes in your learning objectives. Let's say you rewrite your learning objectives, or you change the course hierarchy, you change the course outline, and you want the system to do a do-over. You can regenerate individual lessons or the entire course. The regenerated lessons can overwrite the existing lessons or create new variants of the lessons, and you decide which one you want to keep. They're fully editable. Everything's fully editable in KMx Author, so you're not stuck with what it generates, and you can make it really pretty with backgrounds and foregrounds and different fonts and styles. And I like to use style sheets because KMx Author lets you drop in a template, style sheet template, and just change the whole course all at once, with a nice pretty template. That's how I like to do it when I'm doing courses. I like everything to be consistent. And then the last thing that we'll talk about here, I'm not going to generate one today because we're a little tight on time, but any e-learning course developed or imported into KMx can be augmented with AI-generated exams. Now, the exams require course or lesson learning objectives, in order for the AI engine to come back with a reasonable response. You already saw a couple of the questions that AI was able to generate, Well, AI-generated exams in the KMx format can be used to augment any authoring tool, including iSpring, Articulate, Captivate, Toolbook, etc., because it's using our exam engine, and the AI ties directly to our exam survey tools and feeds into the database questions with correct answers that can then be validated, and you can do full statistical analysis. You want to do a Stanford scale analysis of application of an exam item to a course, or to a class, or to an instructor, to a student population, a demographic. All these things are possible within the KMx system. The neat thing about AI generated exams is you can quickly validate them in a couple of applications. Again, back to the Kirkpatrick model, you definitely are going to want to keep track of how well these AI generated materials are performing, and whether the end results are what you were looking for. And Kirkpatrick provides a pretty good system for accomplishing that. So why on earth would you do this? Okay, well, the creation of 1 hour of e-learning with the traditional tools like Articulate require 200 hours of labor on average, and cost around $15,000. Okay, that doesn't sound like a lot to a lot of companies, and to other companies it sounds like, well, we're going to stay with instructor-led. That's an expensive proposition when you consider that 70% of all e-learning lessons generated ever have to be updated or revised or replaced within a period of 2 years. So they have a very short life cycle. A lot of the e-learning out there has an even shorter life cycle when you're dealing with things like standards, or laws, or technology. Technology moves fast, and if you've got a technology course, chances are within a year, it's old news. So again, generating e-learning to support these things can be very expensive. With the technology that we just went through, you could develop that same 1 hour course in about 40 hours of labor. Now, we spent about 35 minutes letting the system generate it, which I spent talking about other subjects. But you're going to have to put graphics in, you're going to have to put animations in, you're probably going to want to have a really good solid subject matter expert review of the output materials to make sure there's no mistakes made by AI in the process. But at the end of the day, for an hour worth of training, to get it done with only 40 hours of labor at a cost of $3,000 gives you a savings of about $12,000 per hour. So if you've got to develop 40 hours of courseware a year, 40 times 12, that's a pretty big number. Okay, that's like $500,000. Okay, so the use of AI technology not only provides you the significant cost savings, but it also lets you get the new lessons out faster and to replace lessons that have become obsolete more efficiently than could ever be done using labor-intensive authoring tools or methods. And you still have complete control of the output material. You're not stuck with what AI generates. Anything AI generates within this framework that we've set up, you get to edit. You can edit the flow, you can edit the content, you can edit how it looks, you can augment it, you can animate it. All the things that you would normally do with any e-learning authoring tool, you can still do. You're not sacrificing that just to get the cost and time savings out the other end. So where are we going with this? As a company, we're a 21, almost 22-year-old company, and we've been developing these technologies. We were the first major producer of mobile learning technologies on the market. Way back before we had the smartphones that we have today that can do almost anything. Boy, I keep thinking this phone is turned off and it keeps ringing. I don't know why. So we want to be able to leverage our KMx Live technology, what you're looking at right now, and our exam technologies within KMx Live to adapt AI-generated output lessons for use in virtual, hybrid, and blended learning. I'm going to show you something that's a concept here in a second. We want to be able to leverage the student lesson experience data to provide enhanced adaptive learning capabilities without exposing those elements to the AI training mechanisms. In other words, we want to be able to get the benefits of AI without sacrificing the student privacy and proprietary nature of the information that AI may be being asked by the student, okay? You can control what a machine asks, the system by generating good objectives. What you can't do, is control what a student might do, in, their lesson experience data. We also want to try and enable voice recognition. We have voice recognition enabled currently, in the system, but we've got it turned off. And we also have the chat interfaces available, but we have them currently turned off. With our live technology, to allow student inquiries to be made and AI responses to be provided, but only use the responses that come from approved source material. And so that's one of the things that we're working on next is, to be able to limit the response of the AI training mechanism to not take things that are proprietary or use student inquiries to, increase their value in terms of, training, unless the client, has a private account with Microsoft, or Google to do that. And then ensure the use of approved documentation and references whenever the AI system is providing a response. So in summary, again, we're over 20 years old, and we've been, listed as the most capable learning platform available on the market, not by us, but by, technology evaluation centers, for the last 17 years. The incorporation of AI lesson and exam creation features, I believe, further increases our platform's industry leadership position. We're going to do it responsibly, though. We're not going to, sacrifice customer privacy, customer security, and we're certainly not going to sacrifice student privacy, or student information. We're not going to allow those inputs into the system unless we can control the learning process of the AI engine on the other end. Because imagine if your users were dealing with, HIPAA information, healthcare, information. Imagine if your users were dealing with classified, government information. You really don't want that stuff creeping into an open AI engine. And so you haven't been able to input anything into that engine, manually at this point. But you've got a lot of output out of the engine very quickly and efficiently. And the entire process of generating that course that we just generated cost almost nothing, to produce, and we could redo it 50 times just to see how it came out, and it still wouldn't cost anything, to actually get the benefits of that technology. It's a very inexpensive augmentation, to our system. So what we want to be able to do is provide all our existing customers that are enterprise customers the new AI development features at no additional cost. We're thinking that will happen in Q3 of this year. That we'll do that formal release. And when we do it, we'll do a limited time offer, probably 90 days, for any new customers or any customers that want to upgrade to KMx Enterprise from our ASP or software as a service models to get those new features at no additional cost. And then we'll raise the cost probably in January, for the enterprise model for customers that want the AI technology, at that point. So that's kind of where we're going, with the project over the long term.